Good morning, traders. So how do we trade the Aussie today using Bill Williams? Now, our broker fixed the 1 day of bad data, but they still haven't fixed this day. But anyway, it gives us a better view of what's actually going on. So just on the daily quickly, you can see I have a couple of lines in, and first one is this tail here. Then we have gap, and then we have this inside tail there. Okay, so those are the three daily targets that we have to the upside. Now, I'm going to go straight down to 30-minute. That's what we're going to be trading. What is concerning me is you can see the diversions here on the 30-minute. Okay, this is the Williams percentage R indicator at the bottom here. And you can see high, lower high, whereas price has made a high, double top, higher high. Okay, so we have momentum sloping to the downside as well. So this is one of two things. It's either a turning point, or alternatively, it is just a consolidation. So if we start drawing in some trend lines, so we can either take it from there or we can take it from there, but pretty much that is a bottom trend line. And just adjust it slightly. So there is my bottom trend line. Okay, we did have a top trend line, which is pretty much a rising channel. Okay, so if this does break the downside, we can expect some downside, and we're probably looking, I would argue we have, firstly we do have a gap that's open to downside, but before that gap gets hit, you're looking for the next levels, and I think what we need to do is just take it off the daily. There it is there. Okay, so that is a previous breakout on the daily. So that is the area that I would expect us to come back to at some point. This bottom one we can delete. Okay, so let's look at what's been going on today. So first things first, the trade yesterday may have been a little bit frustrating, but closing range, last hour of trading, you can see how we hit the breakout target, and then we still later in the day went up to hit second target and third target. So the trade yesterday was long, but you would have needed to be taking profit at every level. Okay, so what we want to do is pretty much that. Okay, so if we look at what we have on the half hour, if we look at the oscillator down the bottom here, you can see we have a low followed by a higher low, okay, and confirming with price. So there's nothing to read into that. We do have a little bit of a upturn at the close, but I'm not going to read much into that at this stage. So for me right now, this is either going to continue in this upward channel, okay, or alternatively we have a potential to break, and if we do break the channel, then you're going to pick up the targets based on your closing range. Okay, so the first target would be the range target, which is pretty much right here, and you can basically just line it up at the bottom of all these bars here, because that is the point, the most logical point of support. Okay, if this fails, then obviously we're looking at the second level, and you can see this target number 2 lines up with these tails, and then worst case scenario would be going down to the bottom here. Okay, at which point I would be looking for longs again. Okay, so that's kind of my view on this at the moment. We are looking a little bit tired, but we could still continue to the upside. Remember, we've got 2 pretty strong targets to the upside, and I think the important part here is if we do break above Let's get the level. So we do break above 53,890, then we have some upside, which would obviously first line up with 54200, and then we've got 54700 to tag next. Okay, so the things that may affect us today are the rand, and rand is pretty flat, sitting at 1422, so it's up from yesterday. So that is going to benefit the rand hedge stocks. And the other thing that will affect us is 10 cent. And 10 cent is pretty flat. It's down ever so slightly at 0.27. But bear in mind that 10 cent was up 1.5% yesterday, while Nasdaq was down 0.3%. So that may swing in the opposite direction. Anyway, that's my take on Aussie today. Really, I think I'll be just purely playing the closing range breakout. So the last hour of trading, which are these two bars here, I'm looking for a breakout either side of that to trade. And if it is, if we do break the downside, more than likely not taking that short. It's not the direction I want to trade in. So we'll just look for a better entry for a long. Okay, so that's kind of my take on this. And I just want to close off with the 4 hour, because the 4 hour is looking really tight. If you look, we've got a doji and another doji. So we've basically got two 4 hour signals that there is a potential change. But this trend is really, really strong. Okay, so and normally when you have a very strong trend like this, the chances of it just rolling over immediately is very slim. It can happen, but it would need to be some really serious political event or geopolitical event for that to happen. Okay, so that's kind of the way I see this, and just want to just highlight one other thing here. So we were in a channel, you'll see that, and then we broke to the upside of the channel. And normally when this happens, break up the channel, you may come back and find support on this diagonal trend line, and then you run up. Okay, and normally what happens is the wrong line. Basically the channel just keeps getting made bigger and bigger and bigger. Okay, so often this is what it looks like. You have a channel, then up another channel, and then it uses the whole thing as a channel, but this is kind of like the midline of the channel. If you actually use a Fibonacci, you'll see that the touches inside the channel would line up to the Fibonacci on a channel basis. So in other words, from here to here. So your pullbacks would be 50%, 61.8, and channeling up. Okay, so that's kind of my take on this right now. I am a little bit concerned that we are at a pretty good level, and we've also, oscillators also indicating that we're a little bit tired, but I have this sneaky suspicion that we're going to push for the top gap. Possibly today, probably could be later in the week, but definitely we're going to push for that gap before we pull down. Okay, and get rid of all the noise, and you can see the weekly is really looking strong. Sort of a breakaway gap, and we've broken this level. If we look at so this level here of 53582, and obviously the next levels that we have on the weekly basis are pretty much 54370 and a new high of, or previous high of 55150. Okay, so that's kind of what I'm looking at the moment. Still really looking for longs, and just looking for a better entry than where we are at the moment. Okay, and oh sorry, keep wanting to close off, but there's just something else I wanted to point out, and that is this. So we have a flat top triangle that broke out and retested. Okay, so the probability for me at the moment is that we're more than likely going to continue moving to the upside. Okay, so that's my take on this. Looking for longs, looking for a better entry. And I think for me, it's going to be a closing range breakout, or alternatively, if we do sort of sit in the closing range, in other words, let me just put that bottom in. So it will be there, and the next one will be there. Okay, so what I'm looking for is if we stay inside, we stay above this level of 53674, I'll definitely take a stab at a long. But what we'll do is kind of keep our stop within 100 points. Well, maybe 150 points. So keep it just below this tail here. Okay, so that's my take. Looking for longs. Hope it helps, and I'll catch up with you guys later. Enjoy your day and take care. Cheers, man.